Dangerous Girls by Abigail Haas.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Oscar Wilde. Aruba Emergency Services 911 transcript. 8:45 p.m. Dispatcher. Hello, ho got het er me? Female 1. Hello, hello? Dispatcher. What is your emergency? Female 1. We can't find our friend. We haven't heard from her all day, she's not picking up her phone. Dispatcher. How long has she been missing? Female 1. No, she's not missing, but her door's locked in. Background. Female 2. Tell her. The blood. Female 1. Muffled. You shut up. Louder, we think. It looks like there's blood on the floor. Can you send someone? Dispatcher. I'll have a patrol come by. What's your address? Female 1. We're in one of the houses, on Paradise Beach. Muffled. AK. What's the address? Background. Male 1. Unintelligible. Dispatcher. Miss? Are you there? Female 1. Max says her balcony door's smashed. He's going around the back. Muffled. Shells. Try her phone again. Female 2. She's not picking up. Male 1. Wait, I can hear. Can you? Unintelligible. Dispatcher. Miss, tell me where you are. Female 1. Max is climbing up. Muffled. Max? Is she there? Pause. Female 2. Crying. I don't like this. She wouldn't just leave her phone. You know she. Scream. Female 1. Oh my God, is that Max? What's going on? Max, is she in there? Male 1. Max, open the door. Max. Sound of movement. Screams. Female 2. Oh my God. Female 1. Elise. No, no. More screams. Dispatcher. Miss, tell me what you see. Female 1. I can't. Sobbing. Blood. There's blood everywhere. Dispatcher. Who's bleeding? Are they okay? Male 2. She's not breathing. Female 1. Unintelligible. I can't. She won't. Female 2. Help her. Male 1. Tate, get them out of here. Sounds of a struggle. Female 1. No, let me go. Pause. Dispatcher. Miss? Are you there, miss? Female 1. Sobbing, she's dead. There's a knife, and. Oh God, I can't. She's dead. The Boston Globe. An American teenager has been found dead in Aruba, authorities there have confirmed. The girl, who has yet to be named, was on a week-long vacation with friends in the resort town of Oranjestad. The group contacted police Tuesday night after the victim failed to answer her cell phone. Investigators discovered the body that night at the luxury beach house owned by the father of one of the teens. Local police have refused to comment, but investigating Judge Klaus Stecker confirmed to our reporter that the death was suspicious, and a murder investigation has been opened. Before. Shots, shots, shots. We yell it together, slamming our hands on the sticky wooden table. The dreadlocked waiter pours a row of something lurid, neon blue. It's our first night on the island, and the music is almost too loud for me to think. Some European dance pop thing that shakes the crowded beach club, making the glasses quiver and the blood vibrate in my chest. Aruba, bitches. Elise raises her shot in a toast, lights splintering off the glass, golden in her hair. Spring break. The group whoops, and then I'm gulping down the drink, shuddering at the sickly bittersweet taste and the familiar burn that snakes down my throat. Melanie screws her face up, gagging. Max and AK pump the air and howl, but Elise is already reaching for another, plain tequila this time, with a side of salt and lime. Easy, girl, Tate says, and laughs to Elise, one arm slung around my shoulder. She ignores him, turning to me with a wicked smile. Bottoms up, babe. Elise grins, but instead of shaking the salt out on her hand, she sprinkles it on my neck, leaning in to lick up along my collarbone before downing the shot. I shiver at the touch and playfully shove her away. You're drunk. And you need to loosen up. Elise shimmies, blonde hair flying out around her bare shoulders. We're on vacation. Time to party. She grabs Mel and Chelsea and heads for the dance floor, her hips already moving to the thunder of bass. They dance and whirl, swallowed up into the tight press of sweaty bodies. I search for the rest of our group. Chelsea's twin brother, Max, is already off broing it up with AK by the bar, trying their luck with a pair of Swedish-looking blondes. Max's fair hair and AK's black curls are bent close, to hear the girls or check out their cleavage, I don't even have to guess. Lamar sprawls on the other side of the booth, the lights hitting blue and deep indigo against his dark skin. He peels the label from his beer bottle as Chelsea, who left the dance floor, tries to tempt him out. She grinds above him like a lap dancer, laughing, until he finally catches her around the waist and follows her into the dark, one hand draped possessively across her shoulder. I'm left alone in the corner with Tate. I slide closer, kissing him until I feel the tension in his shoulders. What's wrong? Nothing. He shakes it off. I guess I'm still stressed from finals. Everyone said Yale would get back to me before. They will, I tell him firmly. His blonde hair is mussed, so I reach up to push it out of his eyes. I let my hand stay there, resting against his cheek. They have to take you. I grin, teasing, you're the chosen one. I mean, if you don't get in, what hope is there for the rest of us? I'll be sweeping floors at Boston Community College. I laugh, but Tate still looks distracted. It'll be fine, I reassure him again. And even if it's not, there's nothing you can do now. You might as well have fun. Tate exhales, finally smiling. You're right. I'm sorry. He leans to drop a kiss on my forehead. I guess I just need to de-stress. Lucky for you, we're in the right place for that. I lace my fingers in his. A whole week, no parents, no rules. I reach up to kiss him, and this time, there's no tension, just a familiar low heat building, and Tate's hands sliding along the edge of my shirt. Arms suddenly encircle me from behind, dragging me away. Elise. She squeezes tighter, kissing my cheek. What are you sitting around for? She yanks me to my feet. Come. Dance. Elise grabs Tate with her other hand. We exchange a look as she drags us deeper into the crowd. The music shifts to some dirty hip-hop beats, and soon I'm surrounded by skin and sweat and heat, a mass of bodies moving in a slow, grinding pulse. Elise keeps hold of me, dancing and posing, pulling me into it, until my self-consciousness drifts away and I'm as lost in the music as she is. Every party, every dance floor, every illegal warehouse rave is the same. Once I'm past that first, awkward moment, once Elise has dragged me into it, out of myself, it's like nothing else. I'm not Anna, I'm not me anymore. I'm something beyond, my heart racing as the songs melt into each other, and all that matters is the beat in their bodies, and that bass, pounding on. Breathless, I let my body go, let it move and sway, caught up. Tate brings me tight against him, and then it's the three of us, me and Elise dancing up close to him and spinning away. Green strobe lights cutting through the dark. Tate laughs between us, his hands lingering on Elise's waist as she grinds against him. The spotlights strobe across his face, the beautiful angles of his jaw, and suddenly I want him with a fierce ache in my chest. Mine. I grab his hand away from her, pulling him wordlessly to the edge of the dance floor, my back finding some solid surface, his hands finding the curve of my hips, his lips finding mine. He leans in to kiss me, pushing me hard up against the wall. I wrap my arms around his neck, pulling him down, locking him against me as our mouths hungrily roam over lips and skin and shoulders. I wish I could stay like this forever, the tightrope wire between drunk and sober, between flesh and blood and free. Then the music changes again, something pulsating and euphoric, and we're back on the floor, dancing. I don't know how long we've been out there when Elise yanks me away. Bathroom break, she orders, collecting Chelsea and Mel from their spot by the DJ booth. We girls spill into the tiny bathroom, scattering lip gloss and mascara on the countertop, crowding around the cracked mirror. So, who's in for some skinny dipping? Elise hops up by the sink and swings her heels against the cabinet. She fixes me with a mischievous grin. What do you say, like that time in Walden Pond? I laugh. Yeah, and we nearly died of hypothermia. Elise shrugs, unconcerned. So it's a good thing we're in the Caribbean now. You're not serious? Mel blinks from under her blunt-cut black bangs. It's pitch black out there, you'd drown. Maybe I'll find a cute Aruba lifeguard to come protect me. Elise carefully pouts, applying another layer of pink lip stain. Or cut you into tiny pieces and feed you to the sharks, Mel mutters. She tugs at the hem of the skirt we had to tuck her into, trying in vain to yank it an extra inch down over her pale thighs. I feel a stab of irritation at her whining. Typical Mel, always acting like a chaperone even when the rest of us are having fun. Straight A's, future med student. She wants everything to run on a strict plan. Her plan. Lighten up. I sigh. You're not still pissed about the room thing? It's not a room, Mel complains. It's like a closet with a pull-out bed. You could share with AK and my brother, Chelsea calls from inside the tiny cubicle. There's a flush, and she emerges, finger-combing her long, salt-bleached hair. She barely glances at her reflection, bare-faced with her dusting of freckles. But then, she doesn't need to. Chelsea has that whole natural, beach beauty thing down cold. Even during icy Boston winters, she always manages to look like she just strolled in from a surfing session in the sun. Although, she adds with a smirk, you'll have to deal with all their gross boy underwear lying around. That's not the only thing they're trying to lay, I quip. Elise laughs and high-fives me. Maybe they'll let you watch, she adds to Mel. You might learn something. La, bleh. Chelsea protests, covering her ears. What's the rule? No talking about your brother and his sex life. Elise sighs. Or his lack of one. I grin, but Mel is still sulking. She turns to Elise. I don't know why I can't just share with you. Because I plan on having fun, Elise grins, like with that dark-haired guy, the one in the VIP booth. They have a VIP booth here? Chelsea laughs, trying to rinse her hands under the sputtering tap. Her wrists are full of knotted yarn bracelets and exotic beads, fraying until they're barely hanging on. They don't even have running water. Elise just applies a coat of gloss red lip balm. He's cute, I'm telling you. I think I'll have him come back to see the house. The view from my bedroom. She winks. Elise. Mel protests, like clockwork, you don't even know him. He could be a rapist, or murderer, or... Stop with all the buzzkill, I interrupt. You need a drink, Elise agrees. She hops down and links her arm with Mel's, giving me an exasperated look over her head. 2 drinks. And a hot, sweaty local guy. I'm not interested, we know. Elise steers her out, back into the club. We chorus in unison, you're not that kind of girl. Melanie pouts. You say it like it's a bad thing. Elise rolls her eyes. No, we say it like it's a dull thing. Back on the floor, Elise points out her target for the night. He's lounging with some buddies in the corner. He's handsome, in his early 20s maybe, with a bored nonchalance that just screams rich kid. Cute, right? She grinds against me, flashing flirtatious looks over at the guy, pulling me in to nuzzle at my neck. I laugh. He looks like trouble. She grins back, just the way I like them. And then she's gone, ducking through the crowd toward the guy. I watch her go. Within seconds, she's smiling and laughing with the group, that one guy giving her an approving grin. Tate reappears next to me. Where's Elise? He yells to be heard. I shrug vaguely, but Tate looks across the floor to where she's already angled, cross-legged in the booth with them, leaning in to talk to her prospective conquest. Her hair glows purple and red under the lights, tanned legs long and bare under her skirt. I smile, watching her at work. She's gorgeous, no man would stand a chance of resisting. I don't like this. We should stick together, he yells again, frowning. Relax. I slide my arms around him, pulling his lips down to mine. Elise is a big girl. She can take care of herself. The hearing. I didn't do it. I leap up, the words flying from my lips the moment the lawyer steps into the holding room. I didn't do it, I say again, gripping my hands together as if I can save myself from drowning. This is all a mistake. Even as I say it, I can hear how cliché it sounds, like I'm stuck in the nightmare of one of those trashy soaps I would watch with my mom as a kid. I swallow back the hysterics, try to sound calm and collected. You believe me, don't you? You have to make them see. The lawyer's name is Ellingham, and he's all jowls and receding hairline. An international law specialist. Tate's dad flew in from New York. He doesn't speak until the guard closes the door behind him and we're alone in the small room. Then he places his briefcase on the table they've bolted to the floor and finally looks at me. That doesn't matter, not today. I stare back in disbelief. Of course it matters. They say. My voice breaks. Today is a simple bail hearing, he explains, unclicking the stays on the briefcase. It's leather, expensive. Everything about him is expensive. The crisp shirt, the designer linen suit, the heavy fountain pen he uses to sign the top sheet of the papers. In the prison, they have me wearing an itchy canvas jumpsuit, but my dad brought clean clothes for the hearing. I've never been so happy to wear a simple white tank top in my life. The cotton soft against my skin, smelling like our old detergent. Like home. This hearing isn't to argue your case, Ellingham warns me. You'll go sit, state your name, and then enter your plea. Sign here, he offers the pen. I sign, awkward in handcuffs. Can you get them to take these off? I ask hopefully. My wrists are ringed with red and bruises now, but I'm lucky. The first court appearances had me in leg shackles too, and I flushed with shame to stumble across the room like a drunk freshman trying to walk in heels. He shakes his head. Not right now, but once the judge grants bail, you'll be released. Then we can go home. I feel a sob of sheer relief at the prospect, and fight to swallow it back. I can't be the girl weeping in the courtroom, I know. I have to be strong. You mustn't leave the island. Ellingham looks at me as if I should know all this already. It'll be a term of your bail. You have to stay until the trial. I nod eagerly. Anything to get me out of jail. They've kept me in isolation since the arrest. 5 long days when I've seen nobody but unfriendly guards and the distant sight of other prisoners as they march me between the exercise pen and my cell. It's too hot to sleep, and I spend every night huddled on my bunk on the thin wool blanket, counting cracks on the ceiling and waiting to wake up and find this is all a dream. But it isn't. The guard knocks, then enters, gesturing for us to go. Is Tate okay? I demand, following Ellingham down the windowless hallway. The guard matches me, step for step, as if I'm about to break free and run. Will he be there? You'll be processed together. He's already checking his phone, done with me. Don't speak to him, or anyone, until you're out of there. Just your name and plea. I nod again. I used to give the lawyer messages to pass along, words of love, little in jokes, but he never brought any word back from Tate, so I quit even trying. I was so used to texting back and forth with him every hour I was awake. I still hear phantom rings. A low buzz that makes me leap up, searching around the cell for the phone. But of course, there are none in there, even if Tate were free to call. He's been locked up, like me, somewhere on the other side of this sprawling compound. The longest we've been apart in 5 months. It's the longest I've been apart from Elise, too, but I can't think about that. They transport me in the back of an unmarked van, with another 2 guards sitting on each side as if I'm still planning an escape. I want to laugh and tell them I can't even make it through cross-country trials in phys ed, let alone flee police custody. Besides, where would I go? The island is less than 70 square miles. nothing but beaches and high-rise hotels and cacti growing wild in the dusty swaths of land not overtaken by fast food outlets and Caribbean beach bars. Paradise, all the tourism websites called it. Ellingham is traveling separately in his rented luxury sedan. The driver up front in the van plays a local Aruba radio station, the DJ babbling in Dutch between American pop and rap hits. I remember that first night on the island. Elise and Melanie and Chelsea and me, dancing together in the club. We took photos on our cell phones, uploading them to all our profiles right away with the title, Best Spring Break Ever. We tagged and commented and reposted, just to make sure everybody back home would see it and know what a fabulous time we were all having. Know that they weren't invited. I wonder how long it'll take the tabloids to find the photos. Or maybe they already have, and they're printed on some front page somewhere. A cautionary tale. Tate. I know what the lawyer said, but I can't help it. He's already sitting at the defendant's table when the guard leads me in, his head bowed and staring at the floor. Tate. I all but sprint down the aisle toward him. Miss. The guard yanks me to a stop, no running. Don't make me get the leg shackles. I stop. No, please, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. He glares at me for a moment, then loosens his grip on my arm and shoves me toward one of the empty chairs. I sink into it, my eyes still on Tate. He doesn't look up, just sits there, head bowed beside me. Hey, I can't resist whispering. Are you okay? The lawyer hushes me, but I don't care. Tate? I whisper again. Look at me. He does, and the defeated expression on his face moves me more than the blunt metal on my wrists, or the bruise on my ribs from where an unseen passerby shoved me on my first night in jail. His blue eyes are glazed, red from crying, and everything about him seems hunched and broken down. Tate, the Golden One. Future president, king of Hillcrest Prep. Tate, who was always so confident, safe in his world of privilege and success, who could charm even our principal's cranky secretary into smiling submission. Tate, my boyfriend, my love, looking like a lost boy, scared and alone, his right leg trembling uncontrollably. What did they do to you? I gasp, my own sleepless nights forgotten. His eyes just slide away from me, back to the floor. I feel a hand on my shoulder, and turn to see my father. He reaches out, as if to touch me, but that's against the rules, and when the lawyer quickly clears his throat, my dad's hands drop to his lap. Everything's going to be okay, he tells me in a voice that almost makes me believe he's right. But his face is pale, and there are dark shadows smudged under his eyes. He forces a smile, placing one hand on my shoulder. Don't worry, sweetheart. This'll all be straightened out. Mr. Chevalier. Ellingham's tone is a warning. Dad pulls his hand away. Of course. I'm sorry. He smiles at me again, forced and so upbeat, I have to match it with my own. Thanks, Dad, I murmur back as he takes his seat again. Tate's parents are sitting in the row behind us too, poker-faced and immaculate in tailored suits and carefully styled hair. There are others with them, their heads bent in whispered consultation, brandishing briefcases and notepads and frowns of careful concern. More lawyers, local advisors, assistants, maybe. Mr. Dempsey runs a hedge fund back home, and Mrs. Dempsey runs the Boston social scene. Whenever I saw either of them, it was always with some secretary or junior associate scurrying along behind. Now, the numbers make me calm, just a little. I'm not alone in this. They'll make sure this is okay. Rise for the Honorable Judge Von Koppel. Ellingham stands in place between us, and we line up to watch the judge walk in. The room isn't a chambers or courthouse, just a regular conference room in a squat, whitewashed building, with tables and folding chairs set out, like the kind you find in hotels for business conventions. Our table is on one side, with our parents and their entourage behind, and the police investigators sit at another table across the aisle. In front, the judge takes a seat behind her table and stares through her wire-rimmed glasses at the papers already waiting for her. She's in her 40s maybe, a cool blonde in a navy suit. State your names and plea for the record, she tells us. Her Dutch accent is lilting, almost sing-song. Tate and I do it in turn. Tate Dempsey. Anna Chevalier. Not guilty, not guilty. The judge scribbles something. You are seeking bail for the defendants? Ellingham leaps up. Yes, Your Honor, given that both are minors, and have been held on only circumstantial evidence. Objection. There's a cry from the other table. Ellingham doesn't pause. We ask that the courts release them into the custody of their parents as they await trial. The judge looks curiously at both me and Tate in turn. I stare back, unblinking, trying to show her I have nothing to hide. She looks away, toward the prosecution. And you object? Yes, Your Honor. The police investigator is a short brute of a man, lights gleaming off his bald head. I've spent hours locked in small rooms with that reflection, as he yelled and cajoled and yelled some more, demanding a confession to crimes too awful to contemplate. I hate him. Given the serious nature of the crime, and the defendant's status as foreign nationals, we urge the court to remand them into custody and avoid a flight situation. These people are a risk to the public. He turns to glare at me, and again, I try to stare him down, unflinching. Do you have anything to counter these concerns? The judge asks Ellingham. One of the associates from behind us leans forward, and he and Ellingham confer, their voices low. After a moment, Ellingham pulls away. May I approach? She nods, and Ellingham and the police investigator move forward to talk with her at the front of the room. Hey, I whisper again, using the distraction to reach over to Tate. I touch his arm lightly, and he flinches. Tay, are you okay? He looks up and swallows. I will be, he replies softly, his eyes on mine. When we get out of here. Everything's going to be okay? I repeat what my dad told me. He nods. We just have to be strong, and stick together. Tate manages a faint smile, and my panic ebbs. We'll be okay, we have to be. Ellingham finishes talking up front, and returns to stand between us. The judge shuffles some papers around. I've been informed that the Dempsey family has rented a house on the island and will be remaining here with their son until trial. Given those assurances, I am setting Mr. Dempsey's bond at $5 million, and releasing him to the custody of his parents. Tate deflates in a great gasp of relief, and there's a sob from his mother behind us. My heartbeat thunders. Thank God. However, my concern for Miss Chevalier remains. The judge peers at me, her eyes like ice. Her family can offer no such assurances, and so I agree with the investigator. The defendant is a flight risk, charged with a violent crime of the highest degree, and will therefore be remanded to the Aruba Correctional Institute awaiting trial for the murder of Elise Warren. Hearing adjourned. She bangs her gavel. I don't understand. As the guard pulls me to my feet again, Tate is embraced by his parents. He doesn't turn, not once, as I'm led away, stunned. I catch a glimpse of my father's face staring after me, hollow and slack-jawed. I open my mouth to call for him, but I can't make a sound. The beginning. I meet Elise 3 weeks into spring semester, junior year. Dad's company is taking off. New clients flooding in, and talks of buyouts and share offerings, so he moves me from the local public high school to Hillcrest Prep, across the bay. If you've ever been the new kid, you know. The meat market looks and razor-quick judgments are bad enough that first day in September. Switching mid-year is so much worse. I beg to stay where I am, or wait until senior year, but Dad doesn't listen. He talks about the new opportunities for me, art, and dance, and drama, and how if I switch now, I'm practically guaranteed an Ivy League spot when I apply to colleges, but we both know the move is as much for his benefit as mine. Hillcrest is the home of Boston's elite, and Dad's eyes are fixed on their investment funds. They aren't the parents of my future friends, they're potential clients. So I switch. And for 2 weeks, I stay blissfully unnoticed in the crowds of garnet blazers, preppy boys, and perfect girls. I keep my head down, answer only when called on, and eat my lunch alone in the solitude of a study carrel, stationed between ancient Latin and anthropology in the huge, wood-beamed library. Nobody notices me, nobody cares. Not that I mind. The less high school bullshit I have to deal with, the better. The endless popularity contests, the inane gossip. I don't know what happened. If I was out that one time in elementary school, when everyone learned how to talk about nothing all day and think that it matters, or at least, fake that way, but somehow I never learned the trick. The girls are the worst, acting like empires will rise and fall because someone wore last year's colored denim, or someone else hooked up with a guy behind his girlfriend's back. I want to tell them all, the world is bigger than high school. Sometimes, I get this strange urge, a fierce scream bubbling in my chest. I fantasize about pushing back my chair and howling until my lungs ache and every head turns in my direction. Just to cut through the babble of white noise. But of course, I never do, and for those first weeks at Hillcrest, I make it my mission to blend into the background. Better unnoticed than the center of all their curious stares, I decide. I have my routine, my escape routes, my nondescript A/B+ average, and soon, it looks like I can make it to the end of the year without anyone even noticing I'm there at all. Until I open my gym locker Monday morning and find a heap of rancid clothing. Ew! Gross! The cries go up from the locker room as I lift out my shirt, dripping with what looks like curdled milkshake. It's been left to sit and mold for 2 days at least over the weekend, and the smell is sour even through the fog of scented body sprays and pink-flowered deodorant. What is that? The other girls shriek, gagging and retching like it's the plague. My cheeks burn as I search the crowd for the loudest voice, the most wide-eyed look of disgust. There, Lindsay Shaw. I should have guessed. Of all the Hillcrest girls with their perfect ponytails and straight grades and shark-like stares, Lindsay's is the most perfect, straightest. Deadly. I'd been called on to debate her in civics the previous week, and had reluctantly offered my arguments as if I was facing a mountain lion. Don't look it in the eye, no sudden movements, and keep your body language submissive. Clearly I wasn't submissive enough. Lindsay holds my gaze a moment, smug. You should get that cleaned up, she tells me in a fake helpful tone. Coach Keller is really big on hygiene. Thanks, I manage. For a moment, I feel that scream bubble up, but I would have to be crazy to take Lindsay on, in front of everyone this time. So I swallow back my anger and the hot flush of shame, and set about cleaning the mess into the trash with damp paper towels so that by the time Coach arrives to usher us off to volleyball, there's no sign of my ruined gym clothes. Coach finds me skulking at the back of the crowd, still in my regular uniform. What's your name? Anna, I mutter, my eyes fixed on the blue linoleum. Anna Chevalier. Coach looks me up and down. Is there a reason you're not dressed yet? I look around, catching Lindsay's eye. The challenge in her expression is clear. I forgot my clothes, I say, my shoulders hunched in defeat. Coach tuts impatiently. Don't think you're getting a free study pass. I want an essay on the importance of preparation on my desk by the end of the period. I nod, trying to ignore Lindsay's victorious grin as the rest of the girls file out, leaving me alone in the locker room with a faintly rancid scent in the air. The essay is easy enough. I settle into a plastic chair in the coach's office down the hall, and soon I'm back to scribbling lyrics in my battered red journal and wondering what other fresh hells Lindsay has in store for me this semester. Hey! I turn. A blonde girl is in the doorway, pressed and precise in her polo shirt and sports skirt. Elise, I remember from French class. She looks around cautiously at the mess of lacrosse sticks and yoga mats. Are we supposed to wait in here till the end of class? I nod, quickly tucking my notebook away. Not quickly enough. You want a revelation? That's Florence and the Machine, right? Elise asks, seeing the lyrics scribbled on the cover. I don't answer. She's friends with Lindsay, or at least part of that clique. I've seen them around school, their ponytails swishing in unison. Elise is one of the quiet ones. She didn't join their teasing in the locker room before, but she didn't stand up for me either. She played a show here last month, but nobody else likes them, and my parents wouldn't let me go alone. Elise looks rueful. I went, I tell her, remembering the night I snuck out for hours and nobody even noticed I was gone. She played 2 hours, it was amazing. No way. Elise's reply is the sound of pure longing. She wanders closer. You're Anna, right? Did you just move here? No, I answer, still careful. Transferred. From Quincy. Oh. Elise looks at me curiously, and I feel myself tense up, waiting for a cutting remark or some bitchy fake advice, but instead she looks almost sympathetic. You're lucky, she finally offers. A girl last year, Lindsay, used tuna fish. Stunk out the whole place. Guys were saying. Well, you know. Elise shrugs. I think she transferred in the end. Sure, I agree, sarcastic. I'm lucky. Seriously, don't worry about it. Elise looks quickly toward the door before adding, she's a bitch. I don't take the bait. I know how this works. Anything I say now could be used against me later, spun and filtered through the high school gossip chain until I'm the one attacking poor, innocent Lindsay. It's okay, Elise adds, as if reading my mind. We're not friends. I mean, we hang out, but... You know. I give another vague shrug. What about you? I change the subject. Why are you sitting out? I have a midterm after lunch. Elise wanders restlessly over to the window. She pulls herself up to sit on the wide ledge, looking out over the neat lawn. I figured, if I lay the groundwork now, it looks more convincing when I get out sick. Smart. She shrugs, swinging her legs to tap out a staccato rhythm against the wall. If I don't get an A, my parents will send me back into tutoring. She sighs, looking out the window again. Because AB in American Lit will really wreck my entire life. I don't reply, and pull out my math textbook, but after a few moments, I can still feel Elise's stare burning into me. I look up. What? Nothing, I just... Elise bites her lip and glances again toward the door before asking, do you want to get out of here? Where to? Downtown, maybe? We could take the T, get a coffee. We'd be back by the end of lunch. I thought only seniors were allowed off campus. We wouldn't get caught, Elise promises, her eyes bright now. Everyone does it. Have you? I ask. There's a pause, then she shakes her head. Not yet. But that's only because they won't go with me, she adds quickly. Lindsay never breaks the rules. Except, you know, the ones about being a decent human being, she says with a slight grin. I don't know. I'm still suspicious, looking for her angle, but Elise hops down from the window ledge. Come on, it'll be fun. And if they ask where you were, just say you were helping me. The teachers here love me, I never do anything wrong. Her voice twists on the last words, something almost like regret, and the familiar sound is enough to make me pause. I never do anything wrong either, I've never taken the chance. Other girls skip out for shopping trips, and birthdays at the beach, loudly planning their exploits right beside my locker without a second glance. But me? I'm too careful for that. I've never skipped so much as a study period in my life. I'm still wavering when another girl bursts in, breathless and flushed. Elise, oh my God, are you okay? Coach wouldn't let me check on you until we'd run laps. Elise laughs. Relax, Mel, I'm fine. It's nothing. Are you sure? Melanie's eyes are wide with concern. She's petite, with glossy dark hair and delicate features, and she reaches up to test Elise's temperature. Elise ducks away. Mel, I'm fine. I was just faking to get out of the lit test. Oh. Melanie pauses. Right. Me and Anna are going to ditch, go get a coffee downtown, Elise tells her before I can object. Want to come? For the first time, Melanie's gaze slides over to me. She blinks, as if trying to place me, even though we've had at least 6 classes together since I arrived. But we're not allowed. So? Elise beams. But we'll get in trouble. Melanie whines. Then stay here. Elise scoops up her bag. Cover for us, okay? She turns back to me. Coming, Anna? Now. The chaplain in prison loves to talk about turning points. The moment we chose the wrong path, the point of no return. It's supposed to help us, to take us back to the place it all started. We're supposed to know better now, you see, understand the error of our ways. So, we pick over our past, tracking back crimes and consequences through our short lives until we find the linchpin. That one decision that could have changed everything. This was mine. I can see it as clear as the moment I was standing there myself. The three of us in the jumbled athletics office. Midday sun through the windows and the sounds of the lacrosse match drifting in from outside. An invitation. An adventure. Elise's eyes, bright with friendship and possibility. Melanie's round face guarded with jealousy. And me, wavering there between them. If I'd said no, that would have been the end of it. Elise would have gone back to hovering quietly in the folds of her shiny, perfect clique, and I'd have eaten lunch alone in the library, been tormented by Lindsay until graduation. Our worlds would probably never have collided again, merely passed in the hallways and spun off on our different orbits, to college and first jobs, white confetti weddings, and babies nestled, safe and gurgling on our hips. She'd be alive. I wouldn't be accused of her murder. Custody. My cell is 10 feet by 12. It has bare concrete floors, and chalky whitewashed walls, and orange paint peeling from the bars. I've been here 22 days. There are 2 hard bunk beds set with thin mattresses, and a metal toilet in the corner bolted to the wall that makes me ill with the smell. Everything's bolted down, smooth, too. No sharp edges to catch accidentally against our clothing or wrists. I have a thin blanket, and sheets that make me itch, but it's still too hot and I still can't sleep, surrounded by the strange, ragged pace of other people's breathing. Their names are Keely and Freya and Divon. They're older, or maybe just look that way, and after the first stare down, have paid me little attention at all. They strut around the place with their shirts tied high and contraband lipstick on their faces, bumping fists and calling to cellmates across the aisle. They've been here a while, and will be for some time, bantering and laughing with each other in their foreign tongue. I don't understand a thing except the bitter note in their voices, and the suspicious looks they send my way when they're talking about me and my many terrible crimes. I never thought I'd miss the pounding silence of isolation, but some nights, I do. They wake us at 6 for bed check, then herd us to showers, and then the dining hall. We line up for trays of flavorless oatmeal and bruised fruit, eat at long metal tables. Like school, the young assistant from the American consulate told me during our weekly visit, trying to sound cheerful. Not mine. Hillcrest had salad bars and off-campus privileges. My group would gather at the far-right table in the cafeteria, reigning over for all to see. I've lost at least 10 pounds. There was a time I'd think that was an achievement. After breakfast is free time, then lines in the dining hall again for lunch, and dinner. So many lines, I half expect us all to join hands, like the crocodiles in nursery school, snaking across the playground. I've been told I'm lucky there's no work duty, just long days I fill by watching TV, reading the dog-eared paperback books in the makeshift library, and trying not to catch someone's eye in the rec room. I walk for hours in the yellowed grass of the exercise pen, trying to memorize the sprawl of blue sky to take back inside the cell at night. The prison is set on the edge of a cliff. The stretch of blue ocean beyond the walls on one side, an expanse of barren earth separating us from the rest of the island on the other. But we can see neither, of course, just the solid walls and barbed wire penning us in, and the guard towers stationed, always watching. I can make calls from 3 to 3:30 p.m., but I have nobody to talk to. Dad is back in Boston, trying to remortgage the house and keep a lawyer paid. My friends were swept home by their parents the moment the police allowed them to leave. Now they talk to reporters and newscasters, spilling stories and theories about the three of us, Elise and Tate and me. Lamar sent me letters the first few weeks, but even those have stopped now. The only time I see his face is scowling in the back of paparazzi shots, his hand blocking the camera as he enters the school gates. He and Chelsea broke up, before summer. Her and Max's parents are talking about moving them back to California, away from everything. And then there's Tate. He's somewhere across the island now, in the safe cocoon of his parents' money, waking up alone behind a door he can lock, taking showers behind the privacy of frosted glass, eating cereal straight from the box before he wanders out onto an ocean view balcony, and meeting with his 5 assorted lawyers to plot his defense. He hasn't come to visit me. I don't know if I would see him if he did. I can't forgive him for what he did, for leaving me to face this all alone. They say the trial will begin in 4 months. 3, if I'm lucky. Every day, I wonder how I'm going to make it that long. But of course, I don't have a choice. Trial. The photo clicks up on the display projector overhead. Although everyone must have seen it a dozen times over, I still hear the gasps of shock ripple through the courtroom. Objection. My lawyer leaps to his feet. The judge sighs, staring over her thin wire-rimmed glasses. Your objections have been noted, counselor. Many times. I sit silently in the witness box. They've been trying to bring up the photos for weeks now, and for weeks, my lawyer has been fighting. They're unrelated, out of context, prejudicial. If there was a jury, then maybe he would have won, but here in Aruba, there's no jury deciding my fate. It's just Judge Von Koppel, and as she's told him every time, she's already seen them. Hell, everyone has. From the day some journalist browsed our profile pages and hit the tawdry jackpot, those photos have been printed and reprinted, emblazoned across every newspaper front page in the world. Miss Chevalier, if you could look at the first photo. He clicks again, making it larger this time. Can you tell us, when was this taken? Halloween, I reply reluctantly. Last year. And that's you in the photograph? Yes. With who? Tate, I say quietly, picking at the skin around my left thumbnail. They said I'm supposed to keep my hands folded, unmoving, but I can't help it. Every nail is bloodied by now, scabbed and torn. He's still waiting, so I take a breath. And Elise. The victim, he announces, as if they didn't know. And what are your costumes, here? Vampire cheerleaders. It sounds so stupid, out loud in court, but that's what Halloween is for, right? Slutty nurses and zombie cats. Guys with fake limbs and girls in trashy fairy tale costumes. It doesn't mean anything, it's all just a game. It's not supposed to be blown up as evidence on a display screen one day, like you planned it out from the start. Elise and I were vampire cheerleaders, I say again, and Tate was. A bootlegger, I guess. Something from the 20s. He wanted to wear the braces and hat. And these photographs were taken at the Newport residence? I nod. I mean, yes. We were going to a party, but we all met at the Twins, Max and Chelsea's, to get dressed, and take photos and stuff. He hasn't put the other photos up from that night. Max in his zombie football player uniform. Chelsea as Princess Leia with her hair caught up in fat braided whorls. Lamar as Black Jesus, with the robes and a blinged out cross. Melanie in her usual slutty cat outfit, whining that she didn't know Elise and I were going to match. We must have taken hundreds of photos that night, dressing up, and posing, and later, at the party, but of course, nobody wants the rest of them. Not when they have the ones they need right there. 4 pictures, saying everything they want to see. And the blood. Fake blood, I interrupt. Yes. He gives me a patronizing smile. Whose idea was that? I don't know. We found it, online, I explain. The same place we got the costumes. We. That's you and Miss Warren. Yes. She had been so excited, showing me the website. Proper horror costumes, like the kind they use for movies and music videos. Blood and scars and fake wounds oozing pus. We'd scrolled through the options, laughing and crying out with disgust. Alien baby. Zombie spinster. Not that we picked any of them in the end. We wanted to look hot, too. Hot with an edge. And the knife, whose idea was that? I feel my cheeks flush. I don't know. You don't know? But that's you holding it, isn't it? He clicks the photo even bigger. Yes. I mean, I don't remember. There was a lot going on. It's not mine, I add, remembering my lawyer's instructions not to seem sullen or withdrawn. I force a polite smile. Someone got it from the kitchen, for the photos. Somebody. He drags the word out, sounding skeptical. But you don't remember who? No. My voice is small. And you were drinking that night. It doesn't sound like a question, so I don't reply. You drank often? Objection. He turns to the judge. I'm merely trying to establish Miss Chevalier's normal partying routine. I'll allow it. She nods. He turns back to me. The drinking, he prompts. We all drank. I protest. Just some wine, or vodka with mixers, you know. The guys had beer. AK always smoked. That's not relevant. He interrupts me quickly. You and Miss Warren, and Mr. Dempsey. You drank together. He clicks to the next photo, to answer his own question, and there we are. Tate pouring vodka into both of our mouths. Yes, I admit. I know what comes next. My lawyers warned me well enough. He'll ask about the weed and the pills. About my mom's Xanax, and the times Elise tried her dad's Percocet. About the cocaine Melanie saw Elise try over Christmas break, and the liquid ex-Nicholas tried to feed her in the club that night. It sounds so bad, all run together like that, but there's no way around it, save lying, and too many people saw too many things to get away with that. Besides, they told me over and over again, just tell the truth. I take a breath, bracing myself, but instead the lawyer clicks again, to the next photo. Can you tell me about the necklaces? I stop. What? A necklace was ripped from the victim's neck that night, and there's a possibility it was the one she's wearing here, in the photograph. You have a matching item. Where did they come from? I got them. I look over at my lawyer, but he looks just as confused as I am. With the costumes? No, this was before then. When? Over the summer, I think. I pause. Yes, summer. We were up in Northampton, there's this jewelry store there. I wait, still lost. Why did you buy them? I don't know. It's a trap, I know, it has to be, but I can't figure out why or what for. It was just a gift, I explain. We would do that. Buy two of something, so the other had one. So we matched. Why this necklace in particular? It was pretty. I shrug. It looked cute. And can you describe to me the shape of these necklaces? My lawyer's face changes to something like panic, but I still don't know why, so I shrug again and answer. It's geometric. You know, like a... I stop. I can see it now. This was his plan all along, and it's worse than we ever thought, but the word is hanging in the air waiting to be spoken. Like what, Miss Chevalier? His voice gets louder, booming in the courtroom. What was the necklace you bought for Elise? I close my eyes a moment. A pentagram, I whisper. Speak clearly, Miss Chevalier. I say it again. Another murmur ripples through the courtroom. Shock, speculation. Wait, I add quickly. It's not like that. I didn't mean. That's enough. He cuts me off. No further questions. But you can't. I leap up. It wasn't like that. Miss Chevalier, the judge interrupts me. That's enough. Do I need to return you to custody? I sink back into the witness chair. He's left the photos up on display. Elise and Tate and me, covered in fake blood. Me holding the knife to her throat. Tate's shirt open, his arms draped around us both. Elise and me licking strawberry syrup off the blade. The close-up of the pentagram necklaces. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but these only have one. Guilty. Before. I spend that afternoon with Elise cloistered in a coffee shop downtown, talking and laughing and pouring tiny packets of sugar into bitter espresso drinks as we gaze longingly at the ruffle-haired college boys brooding over their laptops. It's new for me. I've never been one of those girls linked arm in arm in the street. Head bent over a magazine, friendship bracelets falling, frayed, off a wrist. I'm wary at first, still waiting for the sharp comment, the mean girl backlash, but none comes. Instead, away from her clique, Elise unfurls, hair slipping from her neat ponytail, waistband folded over another daring inch. She gets brighter, louder, almost breathless with gossip, as if she's been keeping this part of herself back for years and can't help but spill over in a torrent of bitching and wishful thinking and plans of traveling in Europe before college, and the California campuses far, far away from her parents. I'm swept up in her exuberance too, in the tiny space of warmth and easy friendship, like a square of sunshine falling on the cold winter floor. As we sip our coffees and hum along to the indie rock songs on the cafe stereo, I find myself beginning to hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be different after all. I look at Elise's animated expression, her arms flung wide to illustrate her story, and see an alternate version of my life unfold for the first time. The version where I have a place to sit at lunch, a partner in the lab, after school plans that count for something more than curling in our living room, alone, eating takeout pizza to the lonely sound of the TV. And then we slip back into school in time for fifth period, and Elise is gone. Back to Lindsay, and her old clique, back to following them down the hallway, walking half a step behind. Her eyes down when she passes me by my locker. Back to the lesser girl she was pretending to be. And I go back to being nobody at all. I know I shouldn't be surprised. What was she going to do? Tell her friends to go fuck themselves, cast herself out of their world, all alone? Of all the many sins of high school, this is the worst. Better to be a sneak, or a slut, or a narc, or a bully, than alone. The rest, you can laugh off, turn away from, and pretend it's not true, but when you're alone, you have no one to turn to. You need them. To sit with at lunch, to save you a place in line, to wait with for the bus outside the gates after school. To stand alone says you're an outsider. Different. I don't blame her. Hell, if it was me in her place, I'd probably do the same, but that doesn't stop the sharp sting in my chest whenever her gaze slides past me and her group explodes in a chorus of giggles. I go back to spending lunch periods in my library carrel, ignoring the whispers and the not-so-subtle way the jock boys sniff the air around me, the legacy of the milkshake prank. The week passes, and turns into the next, and one after that, too, and soon it feels like our stolen afternoon was a dream, some out-of-body experience. Until Elise finds me weeping in the second-floor girls' bathroom one afternoon, 3 days before spring break. Anna? I jolt at the voice, spinning around in panic. I got a hall pass from French because I couldn't make it to final bell. Did someone follow me out? Hey, it's okay, it's only me. Elise shuts the door behind her and moves closer. She looks just the same, with her neat ponytail and blazer decorated with merit pins. I back away instinctively. Anna? Anna, what's wrong? I still can't speak. The tears have held back all day, forcing themselves from my body in great noisy sobs. These aren't delicate tears. These are wretched and angry, and it's all I can do to fall against the wall and slide to the ground, my shoulders heaving, my whole torso racked with pain. Elise crouches on the floor beside me and tries to take my hands, but I shrink away. I hate that she's seeing this. I hate that I fell apart at all. Please, I manage, my voice hoarse and cracked. Just go. Shish. She gets up, and for a moment I think she's going to leave, but it's only to grab a handful of tissue from one of the stalls. She sits back down beside me on the hard tile floor. Was it Lindsay? Did she do something? I told her not to, but... Lindsay? I try to laugh, but it comes out as a garbled squark through my tears. I shake my head. No, it's not. It's not that. Elise waits, rubbing my back in slow, soothing circles, and eventually, long minutes later, my sobs fade away, leaving nothing but exhaustion and the familiar dull throb of a headache in their place. Here, she wets a paper towel and dabs at my face. I try to duck away again, but she rolls her eyes. Trust me, that mascara isn't waterproof. I quit struggling and let her pull me back together, blotting my red eyes, smoothing back my tangled hair, until there's nothing left to do, just silence between us in the empty bathroom. I'm sorry, Elise offers finally. Her voice is soft, fearful. I know I shouldn't have ditched you like that, but... You think this is about you? I have to laugh again, harsher this time. You're not. I stop, trying to find the words, but there are none. The world is bigger than high school, I bite out at last. She waits. You can go back now. I take a deep breath, willing my pulse to slow. I'm fine. Elise doesn't move. I mean it. I wipe my face again, blow my nose. I'm good, see? I force a smile. It's nothing. Bullshit. Elise's voice is low but clear. Come on, Anna. Talk to me. She takes my hands again, forcing me to meet her gaze. I take another breath, ready to brush away her concern with some flippant comment or sarcastic crack. But instead, the words slip out of my mouth, unbidden. The cancer's back. My mom. And then my voice breaks, and I collapse into tears again. Oh, Anna. Elise pulls me closer. I'm so sorry, I didn't think. The bell goes off, but we don't move until the door swings open and a rush of sound slips in from outside. You can't even ask him. A familiar voice is mid-sentence. I mean, he was. The voice stops. Hello? We look up to find Lindsay and a cluster of other girls in the doorway, looking down at us with matching expressions of disdain. Elise? Lindsay frowns. What are you doing? Find another bathroom, okay? Elise doesn't loosen her grip on me. We're busy. I can see. Lindsay's voice drips with sarcasm. You guys sure look cozy. Elise turns away from her, and back to me. You think you can get up? I nod, wordless. Did someone hurt your feelings? Lindsay crows. I ignore her, taking Elise's hand and letting her pull me to my feet. Or did we, interrupt something? She laughs. Maybe that was the reason you wouldn't go out with Carter, huh, Elise? Oh, fuck off. Elise glares at her. There are gasps from the chorus, more of delight than shock. Lindsay's face changes. What did you say? You heard me. And get the hell out of our way. Elise pushes me toward them, to the door, and I stumble forward, too drained to do anything but go where she points me. The group parts, all except for Lindsay, who stands firm, blocking our path. You want to think about this, she tells Elise, her voice low and furious. No, I don't. Elise's hand is on my back, steering me, but I stop. She shouldn't have to do this, throw everything away because I couldn't keep it together. Don't worry, I tell Lindsay quietly. She was just taking pity on me. She's not. We're not friends. Anna, Elise starts, but I cut her off. It's okay, I tell her. Really, I get it. I head for the door. This time, Lindsay moves aside. See you in gym. Lindsay calls after me as I make it to the hallway and start walking away, my head bent in defeat. As I go, I hear her turn on Elise. This is so not acceptable, do you even know? What? Elise's voice echoes after me. That you're a skanky bitch with no soul? I stumble in surprise. She didn't. But she did. And she isn't finished. Sorry to break it to you. Elise's voice is loud enough to get the attention of even the students passing in the hall, but pretty much everyone knows by now. And FYI, we are friends. I hear hurried footsteps, and a moment later, Elise falls into step beside me. You didn't have to do that, I say softly, tears welling in my throat again. Yes, I did. Elise links her arm through mine. Now, tell me everything. So I do. I thought it would be hard, but I've spent so long holding it back that it's easy this time. A relief. We head downtown again, and the words tumble out as I tell her about what happened last time around. The scans and abnormal tissue samples, and the hours spent waiting on hard plastic chairs in fluorescent-lit hospital corridors. Chemicals and radiation, hair clogging up the bathroom sink in long, curling strands. We tried to make a game of it, with DVDs and trashy magazines, and popsicle Fridays, sucking ice treats by her bedside during chemo as her skin got paler, and everyone talked too loudly about the fight, and her journey, and being a survivor. But it was worth it, that's what they all said. She got better, the tests came back clear, and it was over. Until now. The worst part is, it's like I've already lost her. The words feel like a betrayal, but I need to get them out. She faded so fast during treatment last time. I explain. Most days she could barely stay awake. And that was okay. I mean, it wasn't, but I understood. She was sick. And I did everything. I sat with her, and fed her, and stayed up all night. I forgot about everything else. It was like I could make her better just by trying hard enough, you know? Elise nods. I figured it would be okay. It had to be okay. She'd get better and go back to being my mom again. But, even when it was over, she wasn't the same. I stopped walking. The streets are dark now, crowded with commuters shoving past, but I don't move. She got obsessed, I continue, with health foods, and meditation, and these support groups with other survivors. It's taken over her whole life. She spends every day off at retreats and the yoga studio. She doesn't even notice me anymore. Elise puts her hand on mine, a dark leather glove over my red mittens. I don't think I can go through this again. My voice twists. It was like, I lost myself, trying to make her better, and I never got me back. I can't do that again. I don't even know who I am anymore. Other girls would speak up now. Reassure me that my mom does notice me, love me. That everything will be okay. But Elise doesn't. Then we should do something, she tells me at last. Just for you. So you can remember yourself this time. Like what? Elise slowly smiles. Do you trust me? I shrug. Come on, Anna, do you trust me? I want to laugh it off, but there's something in her expression that keeps me standing there in the middle of the busy sidewalk. Determination. Enough to make me believe what she's saying, that I don't have to be lost again. And God, I want it so much. I can't go through that again. So I nod. I trust you. The pink streak is 2 inches wide, hidden behind my ear on the left-hand side. Elise had one done too, matching, in deep peacock blue. They're invisible, until we pull our hair back, and then there they are, bold, bright. Brave. You wouldn't think a lock of dyed hair could make a difference, but it does. I look at it every night at home, as the chemo gets underway and my mom fades back into that pale stranger, drinking juice through a sippy cup and sleeping through my days. I stare in the mirror, and remind myself, I'm here, I exist. I'll be okay.